The one thing about collecting sports cards is you got to be smart. You got to think it through. So this episode of this podcast video is 4 smarter steps to collecting sports cards. Card collectors can get in trouble pretty quickly if they're not careful. So that's where we came up with these steps to make sure your card collection is still a good idea. You don't want to get into collecting and then realize, oh, what a horrible mistake I've made. So what we did is we actually got a guy named Mr. Collect. He's a sports card newsletter on Substack that you can subscribe to. And I highly suggest it because this is a guest article he wrote for us, but his articles on his newsletter, on his Substack newsletter, they're just fantastic. They're even better than this. This is just a taste of what he has. So I think you'll enjoy that. His Substack, if you want to go check it out, is substack.com/at the collector's edge. So it's substack.com/at the collector's edge. You can find that link in the newsletter if you want to just go to it. But let's go ahead and get into it. Now, this podcast episode, we talk about this the 4 steps, smarter steps, but we also share some sports card trivia. 4 smarter steps for collecting cards. Again, we love to share the spotlight at Happy Hobby Sports Cards, and that's what this is, this is one of the ways we help keep the hobby happy. This week's newsletter comes from our friends at Mr. Collect Substack. So enjoy. Basically, I'm just reading what he wrote. So every now and then I'll step out of character and I'll actually be my character where I give an opinion about something. So this is Mr. Collect talking. When I first entered the sports card hobby, I chased the thrill of pulling a big hit, buying boxes, joining breaks, and hoping for that one card that'll make it all worthwhile. But in reality, things set in quickly that piles of unwanted cards were hanging around and I had a drained wallet. The excitement wore off and I knew there had to be a smarter way. Now back to David talking. I gotta tell you, that's pretty much how most of us, probably coming back into the hobby, we probably went through this exact same thing. Like breaking was new to us. A lot of different types of cards to buy, different products and stuff, different boxes, everything, blasters, all this stuff was a lot of new stuff. So we didn't know some stuff came with this and what's the difference between retail and hobby, all this stuff. So we had to learn that on the fly. So I get what he's saying about you're looking for that one big hit, but then you end up big pile of unwanted cards. He says, over time, I discovered how to enjoy the hobby while staying focused, disciplined, and even turning a profit. The true value in this hobby lies in strategy, not chance. By redefining my approach, he says, I found a more rewarding and financially sustainable way to collect. If you're looking to maximize the joy and value of your collection while keeping your spending in check, here are 4 actionable tips to transform your approach to sports card collecting. Now, some of these we've talked about. This is David again talking. Some of these we've talked about in the past, and some of them he gets into a little more of the mechanics of it. So it's interesting. So number 1, define your focus and set goals. So start by defining or identifying what excites you most in the hobby. Rookie cards, undervalued treasures, or iconic brands like Prism and National Treasure. Every purchase should serve a clear purpose. Are you flipping for a profit? Are you adding to your personal collection? Are you holding out for future market trends? Always ask yourself, he says, when will I sell this card? Now, for me, a lot of these cards I'm not planning on selling for a while. Like, this isn't something that I'm doing just to flip. This is kind of like a savings account. Buying awesome cards, having a nice collection here that I get to enjoy. But also, this is a collection where if in the event of my death, my wife can sell these cards and she can make money that way. But for myself, I don't plan on selling all these. I may have to at some point, which I'll be fine with doing because guess what? I could just get them again another time. So don't be too locked in on most of these cards. But the idea of when will I sell this card, you can think about that, but the answer can be, I'm not selling it for a long time. That can be the answer. All right, back to what he says. Setting goals keeps your collection intentional, satisfying, and profitable. It also helps you avoid emotional purchases that drain your budget and leave you holding cards with no clear value. Number 2, be strategic with spending. Stop relying on luck from packs or breaks and start making smarter investments. Seek out undervalued singles and auction steals, particularly during the off-season or when player hype is at its lowest. Timing is everything. Buy when others aren't paying attention, such as poorly titled auctions and overlooked listings during off-peak hours. Use market trends and player performance data to guide your decisions and focus on cards with room to grow. Stretch your budget by spending on cards with clear value and future potential rather than gambling on random outcomes. Now we'll go back to the previous paragraph. We talked about that too also. Poorly titled auctions. You can look up, say, like a Giannis Antetokounmpo. Type in his first name, search by his first name. They're going to misspell that second name a lot. So you might be able to find some bargains on misspelled player names. Yastrzemski, that could be misspelled often. So you can find these player names that are misspelled and nobody's bidding on them because nobody's seeing them. They have the real name in their saved searches. Also, buying during off-peak hours. I'm a big fan of this. Like if you see an auction is ending at 5 in the morning on the East Coast on Tuesday, get in on that auction. Set your alarm. Get up and win that bid. You're not fighting against a lot of people right there. So I love that. Number 3, master self-grading. Grading can transform the value of your cards, but success depends on your ability to assess them carefully. Using a centering tool to evaluate alignment and inspect for flaws on corners, edges, and surfaces, that's a good idea. If you can do that, this is going to help you. Only submit cards with strong potential for high grades. Lower grades can result in a loss rather than a profit. And we found that to be true, right? Especially with modern cards. They've been saying, PSA 8 is equal to a raw card. Man, lately, it's really more like a PSA 9 is the equal price to a raw card. So you really have to be careful with the cards that you send in for grading. Timing is also key, he says. Take advantage of bulk grading specials to minimize costs and boost your return on investment. Grading isn't just about the card itself, it's about the strategy you apply to the process. I'd also submit with companies like SGC where you can submit less than a bulk number. If you send in 5, your shipping's this. If you send in 6 to 10, your shipping goes up to this, or whatever it is. So make sure you submit at the ceiling of the lower amount. So you don't want to, if 11 cards cost you $25 in shipping back to you, and 10 cards cost you $15 to send back to you, just do the 10 cards. Save the other one for another shipment, for another submission down the line. Finally, number 4, understand hype cycles. The sports card market is driven by hype. Player performances, milestones, and seasonal trends all play a role. So knowing when to buy and sell is essential for maximizing your profits. Buy cards during the off-season, after a poor game, or when hype fades on a player. Then sell during peak demand, whether it's a breakout performance, fantasy buzz, or a playoff run. Understanding and anticipating these cycles allows you to stay ahead of the market and avoid overpaying during high demand periods. Timing is your greatest advantage in flipping cards successfully. I'm not a great card flipper. It takes a lot of time. I'm doing video. I'm doing this stuff. I got stuff going on. I got my own life. I don't have time to do the card flipping thing or the money to invest in it and hope it works out. So if you can really invest time and money into it, it could be helpful. Finally, it says bringing it all together. The secret to thriving in the sports card hobby is balancing strategy with passion. Every purchase should align with your goals and reflect disciplined decision making. What is that? What's this discipline? Anyways, he says, don't be afraid to walk away from deals that don't make sense to you. Patience pays off in the long run. A focused approach ensures your collection adds both financial value and personal satisfaction. That makes sense. Equally important, he says, is embracing the community around the hobby. The connections you make at trading cards at shows, joining online groups, simply just talking with fellow collectors at the Happy Hobby Sports Card chat or in the YouTube comments below is a great place to do it, just so you know. Sharing knowledge, celebrating wins, and supporting one another adds depth and enjoyment to the experience. This hobby isn't just about the cards you own, it's about the memories, the connections, and the stories you build along the way. And when you're ready to take your passion to the next level, match your collecting style with unique apparel designed specifically for hobbyists. Stand out at your next card show or trade night. Explore collector-focused designs at his website at collectorsedgeshop.etsy.com. So I've checked his shop out. He's got some cool t-shirts on there. It's fun. Auction Sniper. He's got some cool stuff. You want to check it out. That's at collectorsedgeshop.etsy.com. So it's basically like clothes for card collectors. So that's we like that. That's cool. Enjoy the hobby. He says, stay disciplined and keep collecting smart. So once again, we thank you, Mr. Collect. We appreciate you writing this article for him and let me do a podcast and a video about it. I appreciate it. So make sure, again, you check out the Mr. Collect Substack page, which is at substack.com/@thecollectorsedge. So check that out. And his card collecting apparel store at Etsy. All right, so let's move on here. Have you checked out the card sorting trays at Amazon? I use these card sorting trays, and it really does make my card collecting life much easier. It just helps sorting. Like there's 15 slots, and you get 2 of these trays, and they're pretty awesome. Like that means there's 30 slots, and for baseball and I think basketball, both at 30 teams, that's perfect. Like that works out great. Football, maybe got 2 separate stacks over here, whatever. They also come with sorting dividers to make things even easier. So check it out on Amazon. The link's in the description here, but also on the newsletter, you can find the link to Amazon for those card sorting trays. So that's all we got. That's what we have. I don't know. What do you think of that? Did you enjoy that? I thought that was a lot of fun. Make sure you come back next week. We'll have another podcast with another newsletter. We got a bunch more videos. We do like 2 or 3 videos a week, 1 newsletter, 1 podcast a week. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of good stuff. A lot of stuff to talk about. So let me know what you think in the comments. Send me something at gonoscards@gmail.com. And whatever you do, make sure you have a happy hobby.